Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Sports Talk with Broads. We are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. There's no denying this. I don't feel great about Sunday. I think this matchup is going to be horrendous for the Eagles. I look at that linebacking core and I go, uh-oh, although Will Parks hopefully being in the mix will be the difference in being able to cover Mark Andrews and helping out in that spot, because Nate Gary just doesn't make sense and you can't keep utilizing someone who gets targeted so heavily. It's embarrassing. The fact that every single team puts a circle around 47 and goes, we're going to have a damn field day, and it works every time. That needs to change. Now, I asked the question, okay, Will Parks, he's coming off of an injury. The conditioning is a factor. I know a lot of people just focus on the injury part of things, but look at what happened with Miles Sanders in the beginning of the year. He's fatigued. He's, coming back and trying to get himself back into shape. That plays a role in being able to play in the NFL, right? So not only the injury side of things, but coming back from the conditioning side of things, that's a concern for me. And I feel, because heading into the season, this is the perfect way to display why I'm a little concerned with Will Parks in that matchup. Now, to be fair, anything is better than Nate Gary. The numbers will show you that you can't get worse than Nate Gary, so you have to try everything. And I am intrigued by Will Parks, but I'm also concerned. And like I said, this is why. This is the reason why I feel this way. Heading into the season, we talked about, Jalen Mills playing safety, Avonte Maddox playing the outside across from Darius Slay. We convince ourselves that these specific players are just going to work. We get so optimistic about it and think like this is going to work. Jalen Mills filling in for Malcolm Jenkins' role. We were so off. We were horrendously off. It wasn't even close. So while in theory you can talk about Will Parks in coverage against Andrews, while I would like to think that will be something good for the Birds, am I sucking myself into that? Am I doing the same thing I did to enter the season when discussing Jalen Mills at safety and Avonte Maddox playing the opposite side of Darius Slay on the outside? I don't want to get sucked down that road. Now, once again, when Nate Gary is your option, well, then fine. I mean, come on. It can't be much worse than 23 for 23. That's what teams are when they go against Nate Gary. So it can't be any more vomit-worthy than that. But I am a bit skeptical because there's a lot of factors in returning when you're coming off of an injury and when you haven't been able to keep yourself in shape the way that you need to compete against one of the best damn teams in football. And as always, it's a Football Friday, and I record our Football Friday podcasts before the injury report comes out early Friday morning. So there are some things that we just don't know yet, like Deshaun Jackson, like Alshon Jeffrey. What are the statuses for those two players? And I'm hearing that there's a chance Deshaun Jackson goes. The thing is, limited in practice on Thursday. You don't know until you see what's happening on Friday. Would it be big? Absolutely. It would be big for Deshaun Jackson to be on the field. It would help out. The secondary for the Ravens is gross, and I say that in a good way. They are a dominant secondary with Peters, with Humphrey, with Jimmy Smith. It's going to be a tough matchup, and if you add more playmakers that they need to respect, well, in theory, that will open up more with the middle of the field, with other guys. Zach Ertz. Because Zach Ertz needs to get going. Now, I saw some statistics about Zach Ertz and the separation that he's getting and comparing that to what he has gotten over his career, specifically the last handful of years, and the separation is still there. So what is that saying? Well, it's saying that, if he's getting the same separation, he should be open. And there are plenty of times I've been vocal about this. There have been plenty of times where Carson Wentz has missed Zach Ertz when Zach Ertz has been open. Or, hey, he's targeting other players. Maybe he gets into a groove and locking into someone like Travis Fulgham, and then he misses other players on the field. Of course, that can happen. Absolutely. At the same time, though, the body language, the effort level, it's just not the same as Zach Ertz, and he needs to get himself out of that. He needs to be in a better mental state because it's obvious that there's something lacking in Zach Ertz's game, regardless of the separation. Like, hey, even if he is frustrated, right? Let's take it down the road of Zach Ertz is frustrated because he is getting the same separation and he's not getting the ball. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Why would that then change your demeanor? Why would that change your attitude? You are a professional athlete. Whoa, he needs to get a bigger contract, and then he's not going to get the numbers. All right, well, you don't take it out on your teammates on the field the way that you're doing it. There's other roads and other avenues to go down if you are upset about this. You and Carson are boys. Talk to him. Have a good conversation with them. But the way that you're displaying the frustration, that's where I have the issue. Fight. Fight for your teammates. Don't let them know that you're all sad and gloomy. Your shoulders are shrugged. You're walking back to the sideline, walking back to the huddle. Come on, that's embarrassing. But talking about this secondary, they have players. And I'm curious what Fulgham is going to do. Now, you can't expect Fulgham to have 10 receptions, 152 yards. I want to see how they play Fulgham. Are they going to make his night a living hell? Clearly, Carson Wentz is getting rhythm with him, getting groove. He feels comfortable. He trusts Travis Fulgham. So if I'm the Ravens, I look at that matchup and I go, uh-oh, let's take that away and see what Carson Wentz can do now. But that's where I feel Deshaun Jackson should be able to help out because that speed, it's a different type of beast, and you need to be aware of that. While you know that the connection between Wentz and Fulgham is very smooth right now, if you sleep for 1 second, literally 1 second, half of a second, a quarter of a second, boom, there's Deshaun Jackson flying right by everybody, and it's possibly a touchdown. Scoring early is key. Getting a lead on this Ravens team is key because of the way that Lamar Jackson is with throwing the football. If the Ravens go down, you have a way better chance. And I know that sounds so simple, right, bro? Come on, that's everybody. Not really. The Kansas City Chiefs can come back at any point because they can score at will. I watched Drew Brees and the Saints come back against the Los Angeles Chargers. I've seen teams all the time come back, and I'm not saying the Ravens can't come back. It's impossible to. But statistically, if you get a lead on this team, that's not their strongest suit, is coming back and having Lamar Jackson just throw them into the game. You got to put pressure on Lamar Jackson. Make him uncomfortable. Disguise some things. Send some pressure to him. I know, Jim Schwartz isn't very big on sending the blitz, but put some pressure on him. Make him think a bit. You know there's going to be some plays that'll happen where it's like, damn it, Lamar. He makes those plays. It's like when Pat Mahomes makes one of those ridiculous plays and you tip your cap, nothing I can do about it. There's just nothing I can do about it. That is why this kid is special. That is why this kid dominates the league. That is why he is who he is. He's Pat Mahomes. That's why he got the big contract. Well, Lamar Jackson at some point is going to make those type of plays. It's just about limiting those plays. Now, knowing that all these teams are seeing on tape how pathetic the Eagles are in certain areas, you're going to see some confusing plays. End arounds, reverses, misdirection. There's going to be a lot of moving pieces going to target a certain area on the field. And they can't allow it. The Eagles are allowing way too many rushing yards to positions like wide receiver. Come on. Duvernay, what's he going to do? Get the ball and make a big explosive play? Probably. You can't have that happen. You need to be more structured, more disciplined. Every week, though, you see a team do it, whether it's Pittsburgh, the Rams, the 49ers, all the time. The team is game planning to destroy you on an end-around play, on a reverse play, because the team, they are not structured enough in specific areas, and squads are taking advantage of it. There's only so much that you can do. And we'll see how Jim Schwartz plays this game. Because I know he knows that he was under fire this week. People are still breaking down the play. Seth Joyner is on Twitter, and Rodney McLeod is going back and forth with him. Seth Joyner saying it's a cover 2. Rodney McLeod's like, dude, check your sources. This is not a cover 2. This is not what we were playing. This was on Thursday. Thursday, people are still attacking that one defensive play. Once again, Jim Schwartz is a good defensive coordinator in this league, but sometimes when you don't have the proper personnel, not sometimes, all the time, you're screwed. You're screwed. And this is just going to be a brutal matchup. It's not rocket science. When it comes to the defense, the front four is going to have to get home. But hey, if you get home, Lamar Jackson has the ability to escape. Who's going to spy him? Nate Gary? Oh, no. Who's going to spy him? Nate Gary? Oh, no. Come on. No. Let's see what this Will Park stuff is all about. Hopefully he gets to go and this team adds an element that they need. They need someone to help out. You need someone to be able to maybe do a better job when it comes to the tight end matchup. That tight end matchup is embarrassing. The one that we got over the last handful of weeks. The fact that every single team smiles from ear to ear laughing during film going, we're attacking this guy. We're going to destroy this guy. This guy can't play. He flat out can't play. And teams win just by doing that over and over again. Mark Andrews is a player that you need to look out for. Now with Hollywood Brown, got speed. Is Darius Slay going to be healthy? Great question. In the concussion protocol. Without him, oh no. What is it, Craig James and Jalen Mills? I would throw up. Throw up if that's what we need to sit through on Sunday. Football Fridays used to be fun. It's no longer fun. It's all right. Let's sit down here, turn the microphone on, turn the camera on, and talk about how this team is probably going to get abused because they don't match up well because they have so many damn holes. But Darius Slay, that is going to be such a monstrous issue if he can't go. Craig James and Jalen Mills. Wow. So let's pray that he's going to be available. You need him. You absolutely need him. Good luck, defense, because I feel they're going to get confused. The Ravens are so good at what they do. They confuse you. You got the weapon of Lamar Jackson's legs, which opens up everything. You are so concerned about that player that it opens up so many different options on the field. Well, thank the Lord they got Jalen Hurts in the second round because apparently he's doing such a phenomenal job in practice being Lamar Jackson. Hey, congratulations, Eagles front office, for thinking ahead of time, for thinking about how great of an opportunity it would be to have Jalen Hurts as your quarterback of the other team in practice. I'm so glad that we have that piece to this roster instead of, let's say, I don't know, an actual player. You know what would have been great? Patrick Queen. Oh, what team's he on? That's right. Could have had him in the first round. Could have got a wide receiver in the second round. But hold on a second. You had to take a wide receiver in the first round because you missed on J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who blows. That secondary of the Ravens that I mentioned, and you got the linebacking core as well. Is that going to be an issue? Yes. Let's say Deshaun's in there. Well, then you have Deshaun, Fulgham, Ertz, Greg Ward. To be fair, though, I was a little shocked. And, of course, Miles Sanders. Like, there's other people in the mix, too. But, I'm just thinking about, okay, who are their guys going to be? How are they going to be able to utilize this offense and get going? I was surprised that they scored 29 points last week. The Eagles were made very one-dimensional against the Steelers team that stopped the run. And they scored points. And they moved the ball. Will the Eagles be able to get the run game going this week? Well, if Lane Johnson can play, we've all seen the record with and without Lane Johnson. They don't succeed. They have a lot of issues when Lane Johnson is not available. Are they going to be able to run the ball? They weren't last week. The offensive line, while I thought they held their own, there were still flaws. If it's Jordan Mailata, Nate Herbig, Jason Kelsey, Matt Pryor, and Jack Driscoll, are you going to be able to run the ball? I would argue probably not. And then you got to become one-dimensional again. Maybe you can utilize some of the screen game with Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and some of these screen weapons that they have. Like, use the screen game. Get going. I'm sure they're going to try and be very creative going up against this Eagles offensive line because they're so raw. They're so new. I honestly don't think that Lane Johnson is going to be able to play. I heard from Adam Kaplan that it seems possible they tried to get him back too early, and now they have to deal with the consequences for trying to push him back too early. That doesn't mean he's not going to be playing, but the way that it looks with this ankle and the way he's leaving the game, getting carted off, not good. And that's going to make this team one-dimensional against a secondary that is fantastic. That's my concern. But will Carson Wentz step up? If this is a game where Carson Wentz, he scores 29 points on this Ravens defense with this team once again, I'd be pretty intrigued once again. Right now, for me, it's the Carson Wentz show. How is Carson Wentz going to play? I need Carson Wentz to play phenomenal football. They win, they lose, whatever. They stink. But it's all about Carson Wentz rebounding from whatever he gave us earlier in the season. Now, before we continue, we have some anytime hotline calls to get to, previewing this game. A couple people reached out to me and was like, Broads, I want to help. I want to support Sports Talk with Broads more than I already do by just watching every single day. And then I started to cry thinking, oh, you guys are so amazing. But what I decided to do was open up a Sports Talk with Broads membership page. So on my YouTube channel, underneath videos and on my actual channel, like the standard youtube.com/Sports Talk with Broads, there's a join button where you become a member of Sports Talk with Broads. There's 3 different tiers, and it's a way to support Sports Talk with Broads where I give some stuff back to you, whether it's, having conversations about podcast ideas. We will have monthly live stream Zoom calls where we can just hang out and talk. And then you can also add videos to my podcast, you yourself talking in front of your camera, and I will implement them into my podcast. You can talk about the birds, ask some questions. So there's different tiers where I will give back to you, and if you want to support, by all means, the opportunity is there, and I appreciate everything that all of you do for me. It's so mind-blowing. You are the absolute best. And also, I need to tell you about my friends at BetQL. BetQL is the best sports betting analytic website and app that you can get. It gives you all the information that you need when making an educated bet every single Sunday or during the week when you're watching college football, MLB, postseason, any sport. You can look at the first half trends, the money line trends, the spread trends. You can look where the public is betting, where the sharp professional money is going. It's a no-brainer. And if you use promo code BROADS20 at checkout, you get 20% off of your first payment. We also have an NFL Weekly Pick'em Pool going on presented by BetQL, where we're giving away weekly prizes, a grand prize courtesy of Rosnov Jewelers, a championship bracelet. All the information is down below in the description. You got to get the Eagles D front going. You got to get pressure going. You got to make Lamar Jackson uncomfortable. Force him to throw the football, right? Because that's his weakest strength. His weakest strength? What the hell am I saying? That's his weakest spot, is throwing the ball. Force him to throw the ball. And I think what the Tennessee Titans did last year when they beat them in the playoffs, they kind of gave a recipe for other teams on how to stop Lamar. And I would say, I like Lamar Jackson, right? I do. He needed to fail, though, last year in the playoffs, so that would build such a big offseason for him to take a step in the direction when it comes to throwing the ball. He didn't take the big enough step that he needed to, apparently, after the first couple of games, and the Eagles need to be able to do that. They're going to have to limit him. Limit him with those legs. We'll see. We'll see if they are going to be able to handle it. I want to touch on one thing real quick, though, because a couple podcasts ago, I mentioned that Casey Tuhill thing where he was put on waivers. The Washington football team slipped him up, scooped him up, and they brought Vinny Curry back to the roster. And because it was the same position, I was upset with the logic. Casey Tuhill, you're going to let him go. Even though he's a 7th-round draft pick, he's a project, you're going to let him go for a 32-year-old veteran who's here for a year. Well, it didn't necessarily have to be Vinny Curry who was off the roster to keep Casey Tuhill. It could have been a running back that they don't use. It could have been any other position on the roster. I was just so fired up because I was talking about the logic with the position as a whole. The way I talked about it, it was almost like it had to be Vinny Curry or Casey Tuhill on the roster. No, you could have cut somebody and put him on waivers who you don't ever use at all. And there's a running back sitting on this roster that has no business being on this team. You could have kept Vinny Curry and kept Casey Tuhill and got rid of him, and then you would have been all right. So I was just so fired up thinking, what's the logic? And I still feel that way because it doesn't make any sense. Heading into that move, how did that make sense? But it didn't specifically have to be Curry or Tuhill. It could have been a variety of different moves that happened. You just would have had more defensive positions, defensive front positions on the roster. But isn't this an organization right now that values that? I would say yes. Oh, man, the offensive line scares me, though. Campbell going up against these guys. The offensive line is just so raw. Campbell, Williams. Good luck, offensive line. Good luck. All right, let's get to some anytime hotline calls. I'm pretty juiced up thinking about it.
Yo, bros, what's good? Just wanted to give a couple of keys for the Eagles-Ravens game on Sunday. The first key is simple. We have to limit Lamar Jackson. We have to limit Lamar Jackson and make him beat us with his arm, not his legs. That's obviously going to be up to our secondary to save it up to the task, but obviously we'll see what happens with that. On the offensive side of the ball, we have to do what we've been doing. Keep the Fulgham-Wentz connection alive. Also, I just want to add this. I know Alshon and Deshaun might be coming back this week, but is there even a point in playing them? I mean, they're old, they're injury prone, and they're obviously not going to be 100%. Why not go with the hot hand? Why not give the young guys like Watkins and Hightower their moment? Just want to hear your thoughts on that. Stay safe out there.
Thank you so much for the call. A lot of great points. So I want to touch on all of them. The first point you made was Lamar Jackson force him to throw the football. Yup, absolutely. I was on the same exact page with you. You mentioned the secondary, though. We're going to need Darius Slay. Without Darius Slay, this team is in some big-time trouble. Keep the Fulgham and Wentz train going. Sure, no doubt, but how are the Ravens going to play him? They have an obnoxiously brutal, hard, intense secondary that have weapons. Jimmy Smith is their third guy. That's telling you a lot about Marcus Peters and what else they have back there with Humphrey. It's going to be a really brutal day for him, but let's see. Test him, throw him into the fire. Can you break these players? Can you find ways to get open against these individuals? If you can, holy hell, will that be exciting. In terms of Alshon being limited, you mentioned Alshon and what can he provide. He's going to be limited. With Deshaun, you got to give these guys a chance to get out there on the field. It just can't significantly take snaps away from Fulgham, who has earned his spot. That's what it is. Can it be Deshaun and Fulgham? Yeah. Alshon, it's not like Alshon's just going to come back and play 100% of the snaps. He's coming off of a Liz Frank injury. So if he is available, you're going to give him some snaps, some limited snaps, but it's not like he's going to take over the game and take over all of the snaps of other players out there. You mentioned Hightower. Honestly, he's getting the most snaps of the wide receiver core, and he's probably going to go from the most snaps to arguably the least amount of snaps because he's just not ready yet. He's available, and what I mean by that is he's getting open because of his speed, but he can't track the football and he can't catch the football, and that's a problem. So he's going to have to work on that. And that is something that was a knock heading into him. That's the reason why he wasn't a higher draft pick. He has what it takes with speed, but it comes down to tracking the ball. We had on 97.3 ESPN. We do football at 4 every single day. Andrew DeCecco of Inside the Birds, he was on, and he's big with the prospects. He's big with these no-name guys. And he's like, look, John Hightower, this is what he is. He has that speed. Can't track the football, though, and can't catch, and you're seeing that. So while I like that he's getting open, he's going to have to work on that part of his game. And to me, he's just a little raw at the moment.
Hey, what's up, bro? So, calling in for your Football Friday. By the way, I love watching these videos, and you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work, man. Just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you.
So, for this week, obviously, the Ravens are a much better team. I'm not expecting us to win. I'm cautiously optimistic, but, it is what it is. The Ravens defense, I think, is worse than the Steelers defense, but the Ravens overall are definitely a better team than the Steelers. If the Eagles defense plays anything like it did last week, we are not going to win this game. But I'm cautiously optimistic. The fans will be back, so it'll be a nice juice. But hey, man, we'll have to see. Cautiously optimistic, but I'm not expecting a win whatsoever.
Cautiously optimistic, huh? I don't feel that way. That's how I felt last week because they were coming off the 49ers win. I was cautiously optimistic. Hey, maybe they can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. This one, though, I just don't feel good at all. But here's the thing. Let's look at the track record of Broads this season. I was wrong every single damn week. So if you want to take that for a positive, then so be it. The fans is interesting. When you said that, I had to jot it down. I forgot about the whole fans thing coming into this. 5,000 fans. I don't think it makes a big impact, honestly. 5,000 fans is available. I think they said 7,500 are allowed there in terms of everybody. That includes, the teams, the trainers, the coaching staff, literally everyone. So I think it's probably around 5,000 actual fans or so. I just don't think that is enough to be the difference in winning this game. The Steelers D, are they better than the Ravens D? They're different, but I think they're both just as good as one another. Different styles. You have the 3-4. You have the aggressive blitz stuff. With the Steelers, that is. With TJ Watt and Dupree and Fitzpatrick. They dial up unique stuff when it comes to that 3-4. With the Ravens, different style, of course, but they're different with it, but I feel they're just as dominant. It's in a different style, though, of course, than what the Pittsburgh Steelers run with that 3-4.
Well, I'm just thankful there's a game in a couple days. I can only take the should we sign Le'Veon Bell comments and questions for so long. Thank God he signed with the Chiefs. But anywho, as for the game, this should be a no-brainer. Everything points to the Ravens in this game. However, in front of a capacity crowd of about 18 at Lincoln Financial Field, with chants of Gary sucks, emanating from the upper tiers of the stadium, the Eagles will somehow find a way to pull this one out. I'm going to go with 27-23. How are they going to do it? I haven't the slightest idea.
That's incredible. You're going with an Eagles victory. The Gary sucks thing, though, you're probably going to get that. Without a doubt, you're going to get the Gary sucks chance. Hopefully you can pick that up on the television. And, hey, maybe, you got to think at some point you need to go down another direction. Whether Will Parks is available, or Sean Bradley, and Alex Singleton, you got to try something else other than Nate Gary. It's not working. How many times do you need to see it and continue to go down the same road? The numbers speak for itself. Opponents are 23 for 23 against this guy. He can't cover. He's not a good cover safety / linebacker, whatever the hell you want to call it. You need to go down another road. It's not rocket science.
You know what, bros? I got a weird feeling about this game. I don't know. My gut is telling me the Eagles might win. But that just might be me being an optimistic Eagles fan. I don't know, bro. It's a very interesting game. Like, I don't know. They probably will lose, but, anything can happen with this team. Their backs are always against the wall. And right when we think they're out of it, they go right back in it. So, if they get this win, it'll be a huge win. I think if Carson plays well, and the defense plays well, we can win this game. You just have to focus on stopping Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, look, if the defense plays well and Carson Wentz plays well, of course you're going to have a good game. The problem is the people on the other side of the field at the time are going to make it a living hell. I love that this optimism, right? It's like you guys are convincing yourself. It's not just you. This is how football works all the time. Monday, overreaction Monday. You're so upset with what happened on Sunday because they lose. And then as the days go by, you start thinking, all right, Tuesday, you're feeling a little bit better. You're still mad Wednesday. You're starting to turn the page Thursday. You're looking into Sunday's matchup Friday. You believe the Eagles are going to win. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I get why fans are that way because they look at their team and they want to root for them, but it's like the couple calls about being optimistic. You're like trying to convince yourself that they have like a legit chance at this thing. And look, it's the NFL. Teams win. Bad teams win. Early in the season, the Lions beat the Arizona Cardinals, who at the time were playing hot football. Kyler Murray was going to be the MVP of the league at that time. And you see teams who should never win. So it's clearly not impossible. But based off of what you saw out of this team, I don't know how you can be giving yourself a little bit of faith. I don't see the little bit of faith. I just don't. I just don't. It seems too far of a reach. The backs against the wall thing, though, can be true because there's a track record of them playing well when their backs are against the wall. You can argue this is a backs against the wall scenario. I feel there's too much firepower on the other side.
Hey, bro, just calling about the Eagles and Ravens game this week. I think the Eagles will lose this game. I just don't see the Ravens. I don't think the Ravens have any weaknesses that you can exploit. And I feel like the defense will make too many stupid mistakes.
Nice and simple. You're probably right about the defense making some mistakes. It would have been nice to have someone like LJ Fort on the Eagles. See what I did there? See? Huh? He's probably going to make some plays, I bet. If I was a betting man, I'd say, hey, LJ Fort's probably going to make some plays. There you have it. Look, the Eagles are climbing up a big, monstrous mountain going up against this Ravens squad. Not impossible. I don't feel good about it. My prediction, the Eagles are a 7.5-point underdog against the Ravens at home. I don't know if the Eagles cover. It's probably going to be something like 34-20. Ooh. Wow. 34-20 in that range. Sadly. Unfortunate. But I've been wrong every time. Take it for what it is. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.